am a petrolhead, and I have been for a long time. I work in motorsport. I drove an R135 500 for years. I'm a massive Porsche fan, and yet I have just decided to buy an electric car. And I wanted to talk you through that process. Like, why have I, a petrolhead, decided to buy an electric car? So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be taking delivery of a Renault Zoe, hopefully earlier. I'm super excited. Like, I've been writing about electric cars now for maybe the last 5 or 6 years. In 2016, I did a really long road trip, 2,500 miles around the UK and Ireland, called Route 57, and we did it all in an electric car. And I just find these cars so fascinating, so fun, and I'm very future looking. So when it kind of came to the time where the R-Bath was getting a bit long in the tooth, I thought, let's go and test drive some electric cars. So I'm super excited about getting an electric car because I feel like it can be a learning experience for everyone who watches this channel. So whether you're new to this channel as, you know, Jess Shanahan, my channel, or you're here as Turn 8 and it's older days where we were doing car reviews, I hope that you'll be interested in what I've got to say about electric cars and kind of my reasoning behind buying a Renault Zoe. Reason number one is I do care about the planet, and I think it's important that I'm taking as many steps as I can to do what I can for the environment and for the planet. And as much as I want a big roaring engine, I don't need one. And I know there's so many arguments about whether an electric car is actually greener, and I will get onto that and I will talk about that at some point, but I believe they are greener. And I'm probably only going to charge this car at home where I have 100% green energy tariff. So that's kind of another big, you know, tick box for carbon neutral fuel and moving around without as much impact on the environment as I would have if I had, you know, a petrol, or not that I would buy one, a diesel car. So that's point number one. I want to be a bit more eco-friendly. I'm already doing a lot. You know, I'm probably 95% vegetarian. I recycle what I can. My business is carbon neutral, all of that kind of stuff. I'm doing my part, and I think an electric car is the next step. Number two, and this is kind of probably the stuff that you really care about, is they're so much fun. And I think all of the people that complain about electric cars haven't tried one. I was thinking about what is the most fun aspect of an electric car, and Instant Talk is the obvious answer. So that's actually why I named my newsletter Instant Talk, because it just made sense to me. It's just one of those things that you just don't get from a conventionally powered engine. Just that immediate, you know, pull away off the line, and, you know, even if the car itself doesn't have blistering 0 to 60 speeds, all I really care about is that first little bit, overtaking cars and, you know, pulling away from lights, zipping around the city. That's the kind of driving that I do on a day-to-day basis. And for anyone who's kind of like, nah, an electric car's boring or it's slow, even something like the Zoe, which is, you know, by far probably one of the least exciting electric cars out there in comparison to things like, you know, the Tesla Model S or one of the Neo cars or something like that, it still pulls away fantastically, and it's so much fun. Point number three is the fact that the technology is great. So, you know, our little Zoe has this huge screen, an amazing sound system, heated seats, heated steering wheel, and I'm not saying that you can't get this stuff on other cars, but the high level of specification you can get from what is just like a basic compact car is really nice, and I'm so excited about that sound system in particular. But then it also has driver assist features like, you know, blind spot warning, all of that kind of stuff. It also parks itself. I haven't tried it in my test drive. I'm way too nervous about anything to do with autonomous vehicles, which is strange considering that's another of my specialist subjects, but I will be trying that out. I will be filming it, and we'll see how it all goes. Just tech like that in electric cars is usually up there and a bit higher than the equivalent, you know, ICE powered vehicle, which makes sense. You're paying a bit more for the pleasure of having an electric vehicle. They should be well spec'd. So I went for the highest spec I could of the Zoe, and again, another video coming, and I'll talk you through how I optioned it and why I optioned it. But the next point is cost. Now, with our green energy tariff and with charging mostly at home, we're probably going to be paying like 4p a mile for fuel, for electricity. If you compare that to the R-Bath, which is actually quite economical for a fun hot hatch, the R-Bath's more like, off the top of my head, 12 to 16, depending on where you're fueling, when you're fueling, etc. So we're going to save a lot of money that way, but we're also going to be saving money on things like tax, servicing, MOTs, just because there's fewer moving parts in an electric vehicle. So it doesn't need the same kind of maintenance as an ICE vehicle. There are battery servicing and things to think about. Again, we'll go into that at a later date, but for the most part, it's much more affordable for you know, average servicing costs over 5, 10, 15 years. So those are the main reasons why I bought my Zoe. So it's, you know, thinking about how I can be more environmentally friendly, the instant torque, which is super fun, the tech, saving money, all of those kinds of things, so that they all kind of came together to make me think that this is the right car for me. And although obviously there are some downsides, like we might have infrastructure issues, we might have range issues. I'm going to talk about all of that really honestly, because I am a petrol head. I love cars. I love the roar of an engine, and I'm not saying that I will never own another ICE powered car, but what I'm saying is that an electric car is probably way more viable for the majority of people and a lot more fun than they think as well. So I want to create videos that are really honest. I love electric cars, but I'm not completely biased towards them. I think there are other, you know, fuel options out there that might be better, and I'm going to explore all this. I talk about this already in my newsletter, Instant Talk. So I'm going to be going into more detail once I get the car. But I just wanted to do kind of an introduction to what this is going to be like, what you can expect from me. What are your perceptions of electric cars? Would you consider one? Or is it a massive no-go for you as a petrol head? I'd love to hear from you. I don't want this to be a platform for preaching or getting angry or arguments. I want to hear all sides of the story. But I want to share my real, genuine experience with an electric car as someone who loves electric, who loves petrol, who works in motorsport, who actually does a lot of traveling. So I'm going to go into loads of detail about everything that you want to know about my Zoe and other electric cars that I have the pleasure of driving. If you have any questions or want me to cover anything, please post in the comments below, and I'm going to be doing lots of these videos. So don't forget to hit subscribe and that little notification icon so you can be the first to know when I put out a new video. Watch this space, there's a Zoe coming soon.